Alright, what's good, y'all? Coach V here, and I am your host for today's episode of the Playmakers Corner podcast. On this episode, we are starting one of our more famed series, our top 5 class of 2025 position players. So we're going to be talking about the top 5 seniors at every single position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, offensive tackles, interior offensive linemen, interior defensive linemen, edge rushers, linebackers, corners, and safeties here. In case you're not familiar with how we do this, we put in a lot of work. You know, a lot of these players, especially in this class here, this is the first group of players that, you know, if they've started as a freshman, we've been able to cover their entire careers, all 4 years. And so most of these players, there might be one or two exclusions, but most of these players we've seen play live at least once here in their career. And then obviously we've went through a bunch of games they played in, film work, talked to other coaches, experts, whatnot, and then obviously ourselves before making these evaluations. But in case you're not familiar with how our evals work, myself, Kodey, and now Mazen are going to go ahead, or we have already went ahead and evaluated a bunch of players in a number of different categories. And so usually in the past we've done 10 categories. This year we've changed it up just a little bit here, just to go ahead and reflect, you know, how we feel about each position and what grades and categories matter most for a player going on to play at the next level than others. And there are some categories that do matter more than others when it comes to how good a player prospect really is, but we wanted to make sure and be detailed with these rubrics that we have. And so every single rubric is different, with a couple categories and whatnot that are weighted a little bit differently. And so for safeties, which is this episode, we have 6 categories rated out of 10, and then we have 8 categories rated out of 5 here. The categories rated out of 10 is play recognition, straight line speed, zone coverage ability, man coverage ability, versatility, and frame. The categories rated out of 5, so weighted slightly, slightly less, are agility / hip fluidity. That's 1. Acceleration, hip power, finesse block shedding, power block shedding, as in direct contact. Are they able to physically shuck somebody off of them? So there you go there. Pass breakup ability, ball skills. That's mostly just tracking ability, being able to track the ball, see the different angles where it's going to go and anticipate that. And then we have form tackling as well. So like I said, a much more detailed rubric. This is the most detailed we've been when it comes to player evaluations and film breakdowns. So hopefully you enjoy, and if you don't enjoy it, just make sure you listen to the episode and you can see our reasons why. We're very well thought out with those. But anyways, we have those categories. All of those points, theoretically, they do add up to 100, but obviously nobody's going to be a perfect 100. But just in case you are unsure with how our rating system goes, usually players who ranked in the 70s are obviously above average. We think those are 2-star, 1-star guys, probably D2 players. Players ranked in the 80s, low 80s are like your 3 stars, potentially D1, most likely FCS. Anyone rated in the high 80s, so 85 to 90, are your 4 stars. Those are probably Power 5 guys, if not Group of 5 guys. And then 5 stars are 90 and up here. And those players are easily Power 5 or Power 4, whatever, how you want to look at that type of players. So that is how our rating system goes. Myself, Kodey, and Mazen, we each individually evaluate and rate each single player, and then I take all of our ratings and then I average them out, add them up, divide them by 3, and that gives you our PMC ranking. And so that is what we're going to go off of when doing these class of 2025 top senior series. So there you go there. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this series with this first episode. We're talking about safeties on this one. So these are players that we feel like have primarily played safety in their senior seasons. And then, oh, by the way, there is a games limit as well. I believe it's either 7 or 8 games. If they played less than that in their senior year, then we are not able to evaluate them. So there might be some seniors out there that we just were not able to evaluate because of the lack of senior film. So there you you go there. But let's go ahead and talk about these safeties primarily. Now, talking about the 5th best safety in the class of 2025, this is according to our PMC rankings, is Israel Waitman, the safety out of Valor Christian High School, 6'2", 191 pounds. By the way, that is as of December 6th, 2024 when we are recording this, when I'm recording this. But he plays out of Valor Christian here, one of the standout players, most athletic players for that squad. Just looking at my evaluation of him, his highest grades for me were 8.5s in straight line speed, zone coverage ability, and frame. He has a good frame at 6'2", 191. At 6'2", he is definitely slightly above average. The national, I would say, average for high school safety recruits here, which is good. And then at 191, that's about average. I would say if he was at 200, that'd be a little bit over that, but pretty solid frame there. Definitely a 3-star type frame. As far as his strengths go in actual football, you know, he is a very athletic safety for Valor that is able to do a lot for them. For this defense, he was able to hold down the back end of that squad, just having, you know, a great wingspan over there as well as good athletic ability. He is listed, I believe, at running a 4.5 40-yard dash. That is hand time though, so you never know with those, either slower or faster, right? But pretty solid speed for sure here. As far as form tackling, I had him at a 4.25. If you were to times that by 2, that was an 8.5 out of 10 basically, and I think he's a solid tackler for his squad. But honestly, he's just a very good athlete back over there with a nice frame. He's the type of safety that you could pretty much mold into a solid contributor at the very least on the next level. So there you go there. Now looking at the notes that Kodey and Mazen had to make, let's go ahead and actually start with Kodey when talking about Israel Waitman. But after looking at his film, he says this: solid man coverage, covers the field pretty well, reads the QB's eyes especially well, knows his zone and reacts well, had solid awareness, and has saved plays on the other side of the field. He's an alright tackler, nothing to write home about, and definitely doesn't feel like a big hitter. He's conservative with his hits, but fills into running lanes pretty well, and just tracks people on the field excellently. So there you go there. Now Mazen had this to say about Israel Waitman. He says, seems a bit lost at times, and while his straight line speed is good, he's a bit slower from side to side, as in side to side speed is a bit slower. Makes great plays on the ball and helps in the run, not afraid of contact with good footwork. So there you go. I think we're all in agreement that he's just a good athlete for them over there that's able to do a lot for the squad. Now, for Kodey and his evaluations, he actually had Israel Waitman rated a little bit lower than myself and Mazen. He was outside of his top 5 as far as evaluations go, but, you know, he does admit that he's a very good athlete over there with a solid frame. For Mazen, Waitman was his 6th best safety there, and then for me, he was my 5th best, just barely, you know, by a little bit, but I think we all agree about his strengths here, just being a very athletic safety for them with a solid frame. Just going down the line though with my grades, for Waitman, I gave him an 8.5 in frame, an 8 in versatility, an 8.2 in man coverage ability. I think he's very solid there, 8.5 in zone coverage, and then 8.5 in straight line speed. As far as agility, hip fluidity, I do understand the criticism there. I think he could be a little bit looser, not as rigid. Some of these other safeties are very fluid, and hopefully that's something he can continue to refine here. And so that's one of his lower grades. I gave him a 3.8. The acceleration, I think it's fine. I gave him a 4. Hit power, I think it's about average. I just gave him a 3 right there. Pass breakup ability is a 4. It's all right. Ball skills is a 3.9. I do think he gets lost at times tracking down the football and whatnot, and that's probably why he plays DB, if I'm just being honest there. Form tackling, 4.25. I think he's solid. And then play recognition, I gave him an 8. For Israel Waitman, you know, I think he has a lot of the tools to at least be a D2 type of player on the next level. 6'2", 191, runs a solid 40. You really can't go wrong with that. For him to get better and get significant playing time on that next level, though, he has to refine his play recognition. I would like to see him get stronger. I think all of us rated his block shedding a little bit lower here. Kodey weighted his block shedding really low, 1.8 for finesse and 1.8 for power. Mazen had him at a 3.6 and a 3. So we would all like to see him get a little bit more physical at the line, contribute a little bit more into the run game for the most part there. And before I go into a little bit more about his evaluation, let me talk about the other grades that Kodey and Mazen had for Waitman here. But let's start with Kodey here. He had Waitman at an 8.1 frame, versatility 7.6, man coverage ability 8.3, zone coverage just a little bit better, or sorry, a little bit worse, 8.2, straight line speed 8.4, 3.8 for agility and hip fluidity. At acceleration, he had him at 3.9. Hit power, he was pretty tough on him, hard on him. He had him at a 2. I already talked about block shedding there, 1.8 each. And pass breakup ability was a 4. Ball skills 3.6. Form tackling definitely lower, 2.7. And then play recognition at a 7.9. For Mazen, he had his frame at an 8.6, versatility and man coverage ability at an 8, zone coverage at an 8.3, straight line speed at an 8.5. Then for agility, hip fluidity 3.5, acceleration 3.7, hit power 3, block shedding, finesse block shedding 3.6, power is 3, pass breakup ability 3.8, ball skills 3.8, form tackling 4.1, and play recognition at an 8. And so altogether, his PMC grade ended up being a 76.38 here, just a point over the next couple closest players, but still making our list. Like I said, I think he's a solid player, at least a D2 type of guy here who can contribute, but might take some time to develop, and that could be tough, right? So we'll just have to see about that. Now, looking through his social media, at least I am currently on his Twitter/X. I don't believe he has posted any offers as of right now. It's December 6th here. But I would not worry about it too much. We all think he's a great player. He's somebody that could definitely play on the next level, has the frame for it, has the athleticism for it. So we would all not be surprised if that changes by the time that this episode comes out, which I believe is currently 2 or 3 weeks from now. So we'll see what happens, but a great player over there for Valor Christian. Alright, now moving on, let's go ahead and talk about our 4th best safety here in the class of 2025, and that will be Legends Peyton Auckland here. He is currently actually going to play in state up in Fort Collins tomorrow on the 7th, so I am recording this before that state championship game, so he may or may not be a state champion by the time this episode comes out here. But Peyton Auckland, he was somebody that we've all been able to see a couple of times, played for Mile High Prep in that Prep Super League, shout out them, and so we got to get a really good look at him and how he stacks up against receivers outside of Colorado, and some of the best around the country as well. But let's go ahead and start with our grades when it comes to Auckland here. He's 5'10", 171, at least listed at that for a legend. So definitely weighing a little bit less here. A smaller player does run a 4.55 40, or that's what's listed here as well. So that's pretty solid speed for somebody at his size, and I think somebody at his size definitely needed a bit of that speed boost. But looking at my grade, or I guess my grades for him first, at frame I gave him a 7.5. He's listed at 5'10", 171. He might be 1 inch over or less than 5'10", honestly, but I wouldn't nitpick there. At 171, I think I could believe it. He could be a little bit lighter, but not by a whole ton there, so I just gave him a 7.5. There are safeties that are smaller than him for sure, so I don't think that's the biggest issue here. Now, at versatility, I gave him an 8.8 because I do think he is somebody that could play corner. I believe we saw him play a little bit of corner for mile high prep, and he held his own, right? So there is no like real worry about that. He's really good in man-to-man here, but at safety in general, I think this is where he could belong and just kind of be used as a Swiss Army knife here on the next level. And I think that reflects in the grades I gave him for his pass coverage ability. I gave him an 8.5 in man coverage, got to see a lot of that. And then looking through more of his film from this season and last season, I thought he was a very good zone player, so I gave him a 9 there. Straight line speed wise, gave him an 8.8. He's listed at a 4.55 40. I kind of feel like he might be a little bit faster than that. Honestly, I don't think he's a 4.4 guy, but I think he's a very comfortably a 4.5 guy, and that does matter. As far as agility and hip fluidity goes, though, I gave him a 4.6. Very fluid player. Very fluid safety. Like I said, he's somebody who could play corner, and it definitely reflects with how fluid he is. Acceleration is a 4.5. He gets to his top end speed very quickly, though. But being a smaller player, there are some setbacks. I gave him a 2 at hit power. He's not exactly going to knock you out. I don't think he's going to knock you out at all. He's going to make the tackle, and that's that, and that's fine. But finesse block shedding, I gave him a 3.5. He is solid enough over there. He has some moves where he could get around, blockers and whatnot and still go make the play. Got to see that plenty of times there. Power block shedding, though, is he going to be able to just straight up throw somebody off of him? Probably not. And so I gave him a 2 for that. Pass breakup abilities, a 4.1 though. Ball skills here, I gave him a 4.5. I think he does a great job tracking down the ball. I do believe he played a little bit of receiver for Legend as well. And I think that reflects in his play on defense. Form tackling, gave him a 2.8. I do think it could be cleaned up just a little bit more here. I think it could get really sloppy at times. And so that's just a refinement thing. I'm not super worried about that. But play recognition, gave him a 9 here. He knows his football. He's a ball player over there. He's never confused. He makes plays with conviction, and that leads to turnovers, which is big time. Whether he's playing corner or safety or whatever, he finds a way to get it done. He knows where the ball is going. So overall, my grade is a 79.6 for him. If this kid was a little bit taller or even weighed a little bit more than 171, he would probably be at least a 3-star guy in my opinion, maybe even D1 guy, like locked in D1 guy, but you work with what you have. Now, let's go ahead and go to Kodey's evaluation of Peyton Auckland. He gave his frame a 5.9, versatility, though, an 8.7, man coverage, 7.2, zone coverage, 8.4, straight line speed, 8.7, agility, hip fluidity, 4.5, acceleration, 4.6, hit power, pretty similar, 2.7, finesse block shedding is a 2, power block shedding is a 1.6, pass breakup ability, 4.3, ball skills, though, 4.7, that's pretty undeniable there, form tackling, a little bit better than me, I think, 3.1, and then play recognition an 8.1, and this is what he had to say about the legend defender. He said his ability to return and just be a playmaker, scoring defensively or on special teams, is what makes his versatility so high. He's an excellent ball hawk with natural receiver skills who attacks the ball and maneuvers the field well. He is really damn fast, and once he gets you going, you better hope you could stop him. There's a play or two where he lines up outside at corner, and despite his smaller frame, he's still a solid tackler. So there you go. There's some very positive things to say about Peyton Auckland. I think we're pretty much on the same page that he's a very good cover guy for sure, and has the speed and agility to play on the next level. Some other things could be refined though as far as contributing to the run game though. And then for Kodey, I believe Auckland is his 6th best rated safety, or sorry, 5th best rated safety for him at a 74.5. For Mazen, Peyton Auckland, I believe, was his 3rd best rated safety here out of all the ones he took a look at. not third best, fourth best safety. Geez, I'm reading the wrong thing. I apologize about that. But this is Mazen's grades for Peyton Auckland. At frame, he was pretty generous to 7.4. Versatility, 8.8 though. Man coverage ability, 8.2. Zone coverage, 8.5. Straight line speed, 8.8. Agility, hit fluidity, 4.7. Acceleration, 4.6. Hit power, 2.4. Finesse block, shedding up 3.6, which I do think is fair. Power block, shedding 1.8 though. Pass breakup ability for ball skills 4.6, form tackling a 3, so about average there, and then play recognition a 9 there for a grade of a 79.5 here. Auckland is his 4th highest rated safety, and this is what he had to say about him. He said, great play recognition, but he makes a terrible decision, and the opposing quarterback bails him out. I think he's just looking at film. Oh, he listed it here, 125 in his high school huddle film there. He also said in this play, if the quarterback made the right read, he would have been exposed. He spreads himself a bit thin, but making a decision a second early makes up for a lot of the stuff by being a great athlete. So there you go there. He does think he's a good athlete, though, a good rangy player, and I think that's pretty accurate. Peyton Auckland is the type of safety that could easily be a slot corner, I think, and you could feel comfortable about him there. Our man coverage abilities have varied. I believe none of us have it rated higher than his zone coverage abilities, but it's all in the 8s, which means that's about a 3-star level there. I think he could hang with a lot of receivers on at least the FCS level for sure, but I do think because of his frame being only 5'10", only 171, he is most likely going to be best utilized as a safety if he's not a slot corner type over there. But I think one thing that we could all agree on is that he's a great athlete with great ball skills, and he has the ability to play both a man and zone, and that versatility should be valued. Now, with that being said, our PMC grade for Peyton Auckland is a 77.8666, and that's just repeating on right there. So 77.87. He's a great athlete, but that frame does hold him back a bit. I think if he could put on a little bit more weight, then he could definitely find himself in a rotation of a D1 lineup here, but it's going to take some time and development. Speaking of looking through his social media and looking at the teams that have reached out to him and have, I guess, officially given him an offer. I believe it's all D2 offers at this point, which is fine so far. Like I said, this is being recorded right before state. Maybe if you win state, then, you know, those offers go way up, and I think that would be fair. So there you go. But right now, D2 offers from CSUP, who, by the way, made the playoffs as well. And then I believe this is Western Colorado, that has offered him scholarships. We will see. This is definitely something that could change. I think he has D1 potential here because of his frame and whatnot. And, he is kind of capped. I don't think he's a 4-4 guy, probably closer to a 4-5 player, though, for sure. I think that kind of caps him a little bit. Maybe he's a late 4-4 guy, which isn't bad. That's still pretty fast here. But with him being at his frame and whatnot, you take all the speed you could get, right? And so I think realistically, he could be a D2 contributor, obviously a lot sooner than the D1 level. But I think the offers he has make sense. At least those are opportunities. Don't get it twisted, though. This is definitely somebody who could, maybe take some time on the D2 level and possibly make the jump to the D1 level. But it is going to take some development. I think we could all agree that he could get a little bit stronger here and contribute a little bit more in the run game here, at least run defense game. And it all starts with getting stronger, and that's something that is going to happen while he is in college. We'll see how long it takes and whatnot, but either way, he's a next level player that does a lot for your defense, can do a lot for you, and then is also a very nice special teamer to have over there as well, to add some speed, add some pop, and that does matter. So there you go. The versatile DB for Legend is our 4th best safety here in the class of 2025. All right, now moving on to our 3rd best safety here in the class of 2025. We have Fountain Fort Carson's Alexander Rivera. Alex Rivera here. This is a kid that I believe we have legit been covering since his freshman year. You could go ahead and go to our YouTube account and look back a while ago. But I'm pretty sure that we did a live stream talking about Team Full Gorilla, shout out them, and their tryouts, and Alex was there as, I believe, either a freshman or a middle schooler, but he was there, and we got to talk about him a little bit, and ever since then, we've been able to cover him these last couple seasons. I believe the last time... Oh no, wait, I got to see him this season. I got to see him in their season opener, against Arvada West, and then before that in their playoff game against Fairview last year, his junior year. So this is definitely somebody that we have been able to cover for a while. We're very familiar with, and he's a great player over there for Fountain Fort Carson, a team that is known for developing DBs and great defensive players. In my opinion, it is. And so let's go ahead and talk about him. 6 foot, 190 pounds. I believe that is the most recent weighing we have of him, at least according to his huddle. That's what it says there, which I can definitely agree with. Going right into our evaluation, let's start with my evaluation of him, actually. First off, with frame, I put him at an 8.3. I think he's in a pretty solid spot here. I do think he's a legit 6 foot, so just about average there. If he was closer to 200 pounds, he'd probably be closer to an 8.5 rating, but not a bad rating there as far as frame goes. I believe he's honestly pretty average as far as frame goes with 3-star recruits around in the country, around the country, excuse me. So there you go. As far as versatility goes, I gave him an 8.3. I know he could play a little bit of offense here and play a bit of man-to-man defense. Really, he's used all over on defense, so that's why the versatility is high, though. Man-to-man coverage ability, I gave him an 8.5. Got to see him plenty and man-to-man against some of the best receivers in the state. And I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him get burnt in man-to-man, which is good, as nothing's happening over there. But I think he's very solid in that and can play it a little bit. Honestly, you could probably play some corner, might need some developing and getting used to that position, but I think he's very capable of doing that. Zone coverage ability, though, gave him an 8.8. I really like him in zone. I would feel very comfortable with him holding down the back end of my defense if he was my safety. Straight line speed, I gave him an 8.5. I don't know if we could find a most recent 40-yard dash. It does on his huddle say that he runs a 4.6. That feels a lot slower than how he actually plays. I think he's definitely in that 4.5 range, though. So I think it's about average. Agility and hip fluidity, though, I think is a 4.3. Acceleration, 4.2. Hit power, it's alright. 3.3, not the best, not the worst. Finesse block shedding, I think he does a great job shedding tackles. Definitely doesn't take on any blockers straight on. But, he finds a way around it, makes the play. That's a big time. That's what you want. So a 4. Power block shedding, I think he could get a little bit stronger here. So I rated it a 2.8. Pass breakup ability, though, 4.3. Ball skills, I think he tracks the ball very well here. It's very natural. He doesn't get turned around too much. He could adjust to tough angles. Gave him a 4.4. Form tackling, like I said, it's alright, 3.3. But play recognition is some of the highest. I think it's one of the highest grades that I've graded him at. Along with his zone coverage ability, I gave him an 8.8 here. He's not really going to get fooled out there, and I do think he anticipates plays very well. And that allows him to go make plays, force turnovers, make the right play to stop them short of the gain and whatnot. All that great stuff. All the little things you want out of a safety he can do. Thinking coverage, he's as good as any DB out there in the country. And, at his prototypical size at 6 foot 190, I think he definitely has room to even grow and continue to get better. I think as of right now, maybe my biggest criticism of his game is that I wish he was maybe a little bit stronger, a little bit heavier. Now, I would be careful about that for sure, but I do think he's somebody who could play in that 200 pound to 205 range and still be good. I think on the next level, you're going to have to get to that point to continue to be effective and whatnot, not just in the passing game, but in the run game as well. Like I said, if he could just get a little bit more stronger and get a bit more involved in that running game, I think he would be a more complete safety over there. And that would go a long way for him, honestly. So there you go. But 6 foot 190 out of Fountain for Carson. Let's go to everyone else's rankings of him. Let's start with Kodey here. And Alex Rivera, I believe he was his third highest ranked safety right over here. But this is what he had to grade him at a frame. He gave him an 8, which I think is fair. Versatility 8.4, man coverage 8.1, zone 8.3, straight line speed 8.3, hit agility, hip fluidity 3.9, acceleration 3.7, hit power 3.1, finesse block shedding 2.9, power block shedding 2.1, pass breakup ability 4.1, ball skills 4, form tackling 3.6, and then play recognition of 7.8 for a total grade of 76.3. Like I said, I believe that is his third highest ranked safety, only 0.3 away from his second highest ranked safety here. But he said this: his man-to-man coverage is really good, and per usual with these Trojan secondary pieces, he can line up and play corner or safety. He's super versatile, pretty quick, and is disciplined in coverage while hitting and tackling at a decent level. So there you go there. Kodey going ahead and praising his coverage ability and just carrying on the long legacy of Fountain Fort Carson DBs who are honestly just like that. So there you go there. Kodey going ahead and ranking him as his third best safety at a 76.3. Mazen had these these grades for Alex Rivera here. At frame 8.3, at versatility it's also an 8.3, man coverage ability 8.2, zone coverage ability 8.7, straight line speed 8.6, agility, hip fluidity 4, acceleration 4.3, hit power 3, finesse block shedding of 4 here, which I think is up there, but not exactly out of the realm of possibility. I think this is very fair, honestly. Power block shedding here 3, pass breakup 4.2, ball skills 4.5 here, form tackling 3.5, and play recognition is also an 8.8, giving him a grade of an 81.4 here. I believe Alex Rivera ranked just third here, only 0.2 away from second, so it was very close between him and the second best safety in this class. But he said this: makes a lot of plays in the run game, a downhill player that's not afraid of contact, finds the ball and makes plays on it fast and shows it in his film. He seems to be missing his wow factor though. I just want a little bit more out of his film. So there you go. But overall, Alex Rivera graded out at a PMC grade of a 79.73, which is 2 points higher than our fourth best safety here, and only 1 point, almost exactly 1 point away from our second best safety in this class of 2025. Look, Alex Rivera is somebody that, carries on a legacy of a long line of great Trojan DBs here, and I don't think there's any doubt that we will see him finding success on the next level. Rated at a 79.73. That is just about a D2 prospect, but I do think he could be a very good D2 prospect. Possibly somebody who could work his way up to an FCS or a D1 roster with some development here, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with development at all. I think for him, he could definitely use a redshirt year just to continue to fill out his frame and whatnot. But then after that, I think it's game on here. And just looking at his social media and the teams that have offered him, I believe only one has done it so far as of today, December 6th, and that is Jamestown here. University of Jamestown, which I believe is a D2 college. So there you go there. Now, I do think that's about the level he could play on. He could potentially play up as well. Like I said, it'll just take a little bit more development, which I don't doubt that he could get there either. I think he's a fine player. He has a lot of the skills that you want out of a safety, and I think he would be a safe pickup for any program out there as somebody who can contribute at the very least on special teams, but could definitely contribute on a defense. And, you know, if you ask him to do multiple things, he has the ability to do those things at a pretty solid level. He's almost a plug-and-play guy at that point, almost. But like I said, I would like to see him get stronger, and I think that would go a long way in his development as a safety, especially on the next level here. But there you go there. Like I said, rated at a 79.73. That is our PMC grade for him, and that is our third best safety here in the class of 2025 out of Fountain Fort Carson High School. Alex Rivera, the 6', 190-pound safety. Okay, now moving on to our second best safety here in the class of 2025, rated by us, we have the 6'1", 175-pound defensive back from Eagle Crest, Elvin Ampofo here. I believe I'm saying that last name right. Excuse me if I'm not. But, you know, like Alex Rivera is coming from another school in Eagle Crest that is known for their DBs and has churned out some great defensive backs, both corners and safeties, the last couple seasons here. And Elvin here, we believe, is another great Eagle Crest DB who's going to be great on the next level and maybe even better than some of the guys before him, but we will see here. Let's go ahead and get into our evaluations though, starting with the frame, starting with mine, but with the frame, I gave him an 8.1, a little bit lighter at 175. I do like the 6'1" frame that he has to work with, still room to fill in, so there you go. Versatility wise, gave him an 8.5. He could also play corner pretty well, I believe, on the next level, so there you go. Man coverage, I think, is solid, 8.3. Zone coverage, though, is where he makes his money, though, 9. I think he's a very good zone coverage player, very aware over there. He's the type of guy you really want back there. Straight line speed, 8.5. Agility, hip fluidity, 4.3. Acceleration, 4.2. Hit powers of 4. He could hit a bit. I think he's the highest rated hitter out of all the safeties that have made this top 5 list here. Finesse and block shedding gave him a 3.5. Finesse block shedding, a 3.5. Power block shedding, a 4.1. Very strong over there. Has shown that he could just shed blocks pretty easily using his power and strength. Pass breakup ability, 4.25. Ball skills, 4.5 easy. Form tackling is solid, 3.5. And then play recognition, one of his highest grades here at a 9 here. He is a very smart safety for Eagle Crest, and he does a lot for them. So not only is he smart, but he's versatile, but he does a lot of the right things over there. He plays the run really tough. I think, well, I don't want to spoil it, but other than the number 1 guy, he probably plays the run the best out of all the safeties we've talked about so far here, on top of being the type of player that line up and play some corner and be very good at it as well. So a versatile safety that's going to go a long way here. That'll always go a long way in our rankings. I personally gave him an 83.75. I think he's easily a D1 guy. At the very least, FCS, potentially group of 5. Would need some developing for sure here. I think he could definitely put on some more weight, and that would go a long way in helping adapt his game to the next level. But other than that, I really like where he's at. He is a very talented and good all-around DB that any program on that level could use, to be fairly honest with you, and he definitely belongs on that level. Moving on to Kodey's evaluation of Elvin here, he has him as his second best safety, so that's a very accurate there. Frame, he gave him a 7, versatility 7.7, man coverage 7.2, zone coverage 8.7, straight line speed, he gave him 8.7 there. Hip in agility, fluidity 4.2, acceleration 4.3, hit power 3.8, finesse block shedding 3.4, power block shedding 3.2, pass breakup ability 3.4, ball skills 3.8, form tackling 3.5, and then play recognition at 8. This is what he had to say about him. He said, easy adjustment on the ball for a pick, gets up and physical in the run game with some power block shedding, easily adjusts to the ball in cover 1, insane recovery speed and footwork on multiple man coverage looks or zone, nice punch out on a tackle, contested passes to bigger receivers, great ball work and recovery speed and reaction, solid tackler who's not afraid to come up in the run, read QB's eyes for easy interception. He's kind of just listing out what he's seeing as he looks through his film and whatnot, but I think it's fair. I think it shows that he is a great cover corner guy, but he's definitely somebody who's not afraid to bring some physicality to the game, whether it's through the pass or stopping the run, and I think that's something that we've been pretty critical of all the other safeties. I mean, not just these safeties, but in general here when it comes to evaluating top 5 safeties in any senior class, but we always want them to get more involved in the run, and the best ones do. They get in there and they make their mark here, not just through the pass, but getting in there and being physical, and that's always going to translate going into the next level there. So there you go there. Now Mazen, he did not have any notes or anything he wanted to say about Elvin and Pofo here, but I do have his evaluation, so I'm just going to go down the line. Frame 8.1, versatility 8.3, man coverage ability 8.2, zone coverage ability 8.9, straight line speed 8.2, agility, hip fluidity 4.1, acceleration and hit power both at 4, as well as power block shedding at a 4, finesse block shedding at a 3, pass breakup ability at a 4.1, ball skills at a 4.3, at form tackling he has him at a 3.3, and then play recognition an 8.4 for him. So very similarly rated as me, that is. He has him at an 81.6. Kodey has him at a 76.9. But like I said, I don't think there's any doubt that he belongs on the D1 level. He could do it all. You love the physicality he brings to the game. And then he's just great in coverage as well. I think that straight line speed is for real over there. And it's important because, I mean, that's your recovery speed, right? When you take gambles, when you're pressing and you beat momentarily by either a release or just some good route running, you need that straight line speed, and he has it. And he also just has great ball skills in general too. He's able to go find the football, make a play on it, get the interception, turnover, or at the very least break it up, and that's what we love about him. Like I said, the only thing that I was really concerned about was his frame here. I know Kodey gave him a little bit of a smaller frame, but you know, he's 6'1", so that's good. I think that is definitely either at or just above the national average for safety recruits coming out of high school here. But at 175, he is definitely a little bit light. So, would love to see him put on some more strength here, some more weight, and, you know, I think he could be an even bigger impact on the next level in the run game and pass game, all that great stuff, but I do think he needs to put on some weight to adjust to that first. But, you know, let's go ahead and move on here, and let's look at his offers on the next level. I believe I only see one right now on his Twitter/X, and it's a good one. A D1 offer to North Dakota State. At the time I'm recording this, it is now the next day, December 7th here. The other half of the episode I recorded on December 6th, and that's the only offer I see as of right now, and that's a really good offer. You know, that's a team that may even move up to the Power 5, Group of 5 level here out of the FCS, and honestly, I think this is the appropriate offer for him to have over there. I think he's a great player who's super versatile. I wouldn't be surprised if he played corner, but I do think, you know, him having the abilities that he does, he's definitely somebody who could be used as a Swiss Army knife at safety, and that could be a lot more beneficial to NDSU than anything, any program really. So There you go there. But congrats to Elvin and Pofo on that offer. I don't believe we've been able to say that at all yet because he did get this in August, I want to say. So there you go. But either way, I think we all think he's a D1 type of player for sure here. If for any reason he has to go D2, we fully expect him to excel and find his way to D1 because that's truly where we believe he is. He is a great athlete who's versatile, has the height to be over there at the very least, has the athleticism to be over there, and this isn't anything crazy. Eagle Crest has always had great defensive backs, and Elvin Ampofo has continued to prove that with this play these last 4 years here, and especially his senior season as well. He had a great year. So there you go there. That is our second best safety in the class of 2025 here in Colorado, Elvin Ampofo from Eagle Crest. Alright, now before we get to the number one safety in this class, we do have a number of safeties that I wanted to shout out before we moved on and whatnot. Garrett O'Brien out of Pueblo West was one of those guys who was just outside. He's been super productive and definitely somebody who has made our all-PMC list and I believe our end of the year awards finalist list a couple of times here, but he's a good player for them. Dion Giles-Ray out of Denver East is another great player. Plays both ways, by the way, but he's another one that was just outside. Gio Toledo out of Broomfield is one that we looked at. Brody Shoes from Legend. McCoy Huckstep from Cheyenne Mountain. Owen Wind from Fossil Ridge was really close to making it on this list here as well. There were other players that, we wanted to look at, like a Levi Braden, Demetrius Padilla, James Bassinger, Ronan Ward, but they did not have safety film in yet, and I don't think they really want to play DB on the next level, which, but it is what it is. So there you go there. Mason Smiley out of Broomfield's another guy we looked at. Elijah Brotherns out of Sand Creek, another guy we looked at. Avante Hendricks, I believe from Overland, is a guy that Kodey liked as well and evaluated. Just to name a few players, Cash Alchvager from Wellington. I mean, we wish there was more safety film, but that was another player that we took a quick look at here. And they're all great players, and we expect most of them, if not all of them, to go ahead and get opportunities to play on the next level, and we are rooting for them, just like we're rooting for everybody else on this list as well. But wanted to make sure we shouted out a couple players. Oh, sorry, Anthony Smith out of Mesa Ridge. I don't know if I said that yet or not, but he's definitely somebody that we were considering, but the film, unfortunately, is just not quite there. So there you go. But with all that being said, let's get to our best safety here in the class of 2025 here in Colorado. And so the best rated safety according to PMC in the class of 2025 here in Colorado, I don't think to anybody's surprise, is Cherry Creek 6 foot, 190 pound safety Aiden Kanapke here. The 4-year varsity starter, he's been playing since his freshman year. One of the many players that we've been able to cover throughout his entire career here, all 4 years. And, he's had a heck of a career. At the time I'm recording this, he will be playing for state here later this afternoon here. His 4th state championship, already has 1 state championship, or sorry, I think it's 2 state championships. Sorry, I had to think about that again. But either way, he's a state champion. He's a great player. His brother, shout out Jordan Kanapke over at Lindenwood, formerly at UNC, that is, was a great player as well, and is still a great player over at Lindenwood right now. So it runs in the genes, This is a player that we've known is a dog for so many years, and it's special that we've been able to cover him all 4 years. Let's just say that. But, let's just get into our evaluation here. I think we all knew that he was going to be number 1, but, evaluating him, putting him to the numbers, and scrutinizing his game really confirmed how great he is. But let's just start with frame. I gave him an 8.3 to start here. A little bit lighter, a little bit shorter, but I think it's about average, so you can't complain about that. Versatility is an 8. Man coverage ability, I love a lot, 8.7. Zone coverage is a 9. straight line speed 8.5, agility, hip fluidity. He's somebody who gets in and out of his cuts real quickly, gets turned around or can turn around and go pursue different angles pretty quickly here. I don't think he's stiff at all, so I gave him a 4.5. Acceleration 4.2, hit power 3.6 here. Finesse block shedding 3.5, power block shedding 4.1, pass breakup ability 4.4, ball skills easily a 4.3, form tackling a 4, and then play recognition is a 9.2. Look, it is really hard to start for Cherry Creek, especially in the secondary here. You got to look back at all the previous DBs that have made our top 5 series, and those are players who, for the most part, have started their junior, maybe even just their senior year here. But for Aiden Kanapke to not only start as an underclassman, but start as a freshman is a testament to how smart he was, as well as physically gifted. But I think the IQ is what really stood out to me from the get-go, and he's only gotten smarter year after year after year. And I want to say the last top 5 DB here that made our top 5 seniors list is what I mean, out of Cherry Creek, that was a multi-year, more than 2-year starter. I want to say it was Miles Purchase. I don't think Al Ashford was one. Maybe Al Ashford as well. But Miles Purchase, who's obviously balling out over at Iowa State. He's great over there. He's doing his thing. So, you know, the blueprint's right there. There you go there. But with all that being said, Aiden Kanapke rated out at an 84.3. I think he's definitely a D1 player here. Probably, I would say, either a group of 5 or power 5 guy. Don't think really he's an FCS type of dude. I know I rated him a little bit lower than I would other safeties. But, you know, I think safety is definitely a interesting position to evaluate and then scale to the national level, because you have so many freaks of nature out there, and I think at safety the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that colleges are looking for, are freaks of nature at safety, because then they feel like they could coach the rest. For Aiden Kanapke, not that he's not a freak of nature, but I do think him being a student of the game and then just having the general athletic ability that he does have goes a long way in what makes him great here. But in my opinion, there's no doubt that the IQ aspect of his game makes him elite and has made him elite the last couple years. Now, let's go ahead and go to Kodey and his evaluation of Aiden here. He gave him an 8 at frame, 8.2 at versatility, 8 at man coverage ability, 8.9 at zone, 8.6 at straight line speed, 4.5 at agility, 4.6 acceleration, 4 hit power, 3.3 finesse block shedding, 4.1 power block shedding, 4.4 pass breakup ability, 4.5 ball skills, 4 tackling, 8.8 play recognition. This is what he had to say about him. He plays fast and knows the plays. His zone coverage is aggressive. His man coverage is spectacular. He is fast enough to cover the whole field and do it efficiently. He baits QBs, he hits hard enough to force incompletions, and knows where the ball is going to go before it is usually there. His tackling could be slightly more consistent, which I agree with, by the way, but considering his volume, there's not going to be a perfect tackle every single time. He doesn't really come off the edge, but he would probably be just fine in the box as another linebacker based off of his physicality and size. He does get baited by a rollout action against Chatfield, but his recovery speed makes it hard for those kind of plays to last for long. Right as I type that, he's in the box a linebacker within 5 seconds on the film. So there you go there. You know, he has a lot of respect for Aiden Kanapke, having watched him, I believe, every single year of his career so far here. So there you go. I don't think I even did that. I think I only watched games the last 3 years. I don't know if well, actually, maybe no, that's false. I've also watched games every single year, so just kidding. But anyways, let's go on to Mazen here. Oh, by the way, Kodey gave him a grade of 83.9, which is really similar to my grade as well. Now, going to Mazen, obviously Aiden Kanapke was his highest rated safety out of all the ones we evaluated, but frame gave him an 8.3, versatility 8.1, man coverage 8.5, zone 8.8, straight line speed 8.5, agility, hip fluidity 4.3, acceleration 4, hip power 3.7, finesse block shedding 3.7, power block shedding 3.8, pass breakup ability 4.2, ball skills 4.4, form tackling 4, play recognition an 8.6 for an overall grade of 82.9. All Mazen had to say was this: you can see he watches a lot of film and is an absolute ball hawk. Definitely a must-watch player that can move to the next level easily. I want to see him be a bit more aggressive in the run, but not disappointed one bit. Mazen also being another guy who was able to watch him not all 4 years, but since he was a freshman balling out for Cherry Creek. So there you go there. I think altogether, the only real criticism, I would say that criticism of Aiden Kanapke's game is that we do feel like he could be a little bit more aggressive in the run game. I think for me, if he could put on a little bit more weight to adjust on that next level here, he's going to be in a great spot, and it doesn't have to be a lot more weight, just a little bit more here, and I think he could be a starter or at least a rotational guy for a lot of D1 programs over there if he can do that and get more involved as a hitter in the run game. Now, as far as defense goes and him covering the pass, I honestly feel really good about where he's at. He's gonna have to, get used to the speed on the next level, so that means film work and whatnot. But other than that, I think we all feel really comfortable about where he is right now. Him being such a high IQ safety is going to go a long way for him. He's going to be somebody who's going to understand these concepts on the next level and, play well. And, shout out Cherry Creek. They scheduled some tough teams this year. That team in Utah, I believe Skyridge, Highland Park down in my neck of the woods. Well, not quite my neck of the woods. I wish it was, but down in Dallas. That's a good program over there. And then they do have, obviously, a whole bunch of other out-of-state games they've played over the years. And he's matched up well. I don't think there's ever been an issue about his play on that level. And so we're really excited to see where he goes. As of today, like I said, playing for state, this would be his 4th state championship appearance. And then I believe he'd be playing for his 3rd state championship. Yep, that is correct here. But outside of what happens tonight, his future is pretty much already set as he is committed to Washington State. He received a whole bunch of offers, though, by the way, from great programs like Montana, Hawaii, Rice, San Diego State, NDSU, Georgia Tech, Duke, just to name a few programs. But he will be going to Washington State, which is a very underrated program. I've always thought they're a very underrated program. We think he's somebody that, just give him some time, right? He's going to go over there. He's probably going to take a redshirt year and whatnot. And then after that, I think it's fair game. He could definitely be in competition and in the thick of it to get inside that rotation, whether it's starting on special teams first or as maybe somebody who could spell out a couple guys over there. And we like his versatility as well. He could also maybe play some corner. I don't think he will, though. I think he's easily more of a safety, if not maybe somebody that if you're Washington State, you go ahead and look at the long run and be like, hey, maybe he could even play some linebacker like his brother who moved down and play some linebacker. I think that's definitely in play as well here, and we think he'd be a great linebacker for them on that D1 level. Either way, we're really excited for his future. He has seen nothing but success in high school. He's excelled at every aspect here. I mean, we just can't stress it enough. Playing and starting for a secondary like Cherry Creek so early on and for 4 years is absolutely amazing. There hasn't been a better safety over there for them in these 4 years. And, Aiden Kanapke, he's just set the tone for them. Season in, season out, day in, day out, week in, week out. He's done what he needed to do over there, and he is reaping the fruits of his labor as he is one of the all-time best safeties to come out of Colorado. So there you go there. That is our number 1 safety here in the class of 2025 out of Cherry Creek High School, committed to Washington State. But just one more time, let's go ahead and do a rundown of all of these great safeties here. In the class of 2025, our number 5 safety in Colorado is Valor Christian's Israel Waitman. Our number 4 safety is Legends Peyton Auckland, which, by the way, best of luck today. I guess the results would have already come out by the time this episode comes out, but out of Legends, so there you go there. Our third best safety here is out of Fountain Fort Carson in Alex Rivera. Our second best safety out of Eagle Crest is Elvin Ampofo. And then our number 1 safety, committed to Washington State, but hailing from Cherry Creek as a 4-year varsity starter, is Aiden Kanapke here. So there you go. Those are the top 5 senior safeties in this class out of Colorado. Thank you so much for listening to us. This series has always been pretty popular and, infamous for a couple reasons, but we do put in a lot of work into this. And so if you have a problem with it, you could always do your own research, but I know you won't. So there you go. For the most part, you probably won't. Like I said, we have redone all the rubrics for every single position, trying to get as detailed as we can with our evaluation. And we honestly feel like this class of 2025 is going to be the most scrutinized and the best evaluated class that we have ever done so far here. So super excited for that. Make sure you check out future episodes here. Kodey and Mazen will also have individual episodes, but I'll be writing in my notes and whatnot. You know me, so I'll be doing all of that great stuff there. And then I'll also be releasing some other episodes on my own with their opinions. We'll be going back and forth, but either way, make sure you follow us at Playmakers Corner on all social media. Show us some love, and you know what? We'll catch you later.